Taking control of prison gangs. Can we do it? Well, I think it needs to be done, or something needs to be done to control the security threat groups within our prisons, because we're having too many officers injured on the job, too many prison employees injured on the job, and other inmates. These security threat groups, these gang members, are one of the biggest problems that we have in our prison system. Hi, I'm Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe if you like this video. Now, this has gone on for a long time. Now, my state, Florida, the Florida Department of Corrections started looking into security threat groups and classifying them back in 1992. And I remember when this was implemented. Now, many other states were doing this before Florida, but Florida has since become known as one of the highly regarded STG group classification studies, and kind of like a blueprint for some other states. But I'll tell you what, I come from the Southwest, and I know that the gang issues and the STGs have been studied way before Florida in 1992. California, Arizona, New Mexico, and a lot of other states with bad gang problems that started before we had them here in Florida. And it takes time. Over time, inmates, people from other states came to Florida and they were arrested. California gang members came to Florida, they were arrested, and they were placed in our Florida prisons and jails. And same with up north, northern gang members came down to Florida and were arrested. And then it started happening right here in our Florida prison system. So in 1992, we noticed that it was beginning to get very serious and something had to be done. But it's still a huge problem, and they're still pretty much running free within our prison system and causing chaos and havoc and injuries to our staff members. So this problem, which will never go away in my opinion, but we have to control it, is something that I think needs more study. And I know that we try to move them to different places, we try to separate them. But every time you move the inmates, they end up in a location where there's inmates of similar gang affiliation, and then they get together and form another gang. There's only so many places that we can put these inmates in our state to keep them separated. Now, there are some things that I researched and found out that some states are talking about moving inmates from one state to another. Now, will that solve the problem? It could be a temporary band-aid, but now if you move some of your gang members out of your state into another state, and maybe they send you some of theirs, are we solving the problem? I don't know. It's worth a try. I'm game for anything. We can't just sit still and do nothing. So, or what if we just built a supermax prison in some states and sent these security threat group inmates, hardcore gang members causing violence and disruption in our prisons, to those areas, and let them be in that supermax prison with only themselves. Now, somebody might be saying right now, well, you can't send an inmate from Florida to another state. You just never be able to do that. But I've been doing some reading, and one of the questions that comes about when you talk about this is it legal to move inmates to other states? What I'm finding is the answer is yes. It's covered under the Security Conditions Clause in federal legislation written to cover national security. Okay, I didn't go digging any deeper. I'm just finding out that under that clause we may be able to do that. Okay, and if we are, well, maybe we could use that federal clause and have some supermax prisons in some isolated areas in other states, or even in your own state. And these, we can put some of these security threat groups in there, and there's also been discussions about having them have a special agenda, where they would be in 10 by 10 cells. They would have a strict daily routine on what they can do. Their television would consist of only PBS, History Channel, Animal Channel, and maybe a local station of choice. Recreation would be twice daily. Medical would go to them. And we're talking about some pretty serious folks here. These would have to be some very highly disruptive security threat group gang members. Now, they would have a special setup to go do their exercise twice a day and so forth. Now, a lot of people right now are like, oh my God, no way, this is just terrible. You can't do that to these people. Well, if we are having a security threat group killing people, killing officers, injuring officers, killing other inmates, they are a threat not only to everyone inside the institution, they're a threat to the people that we are paid to protect, the citizens, the honest citizens in our communities, because they could cause riots and escapes, and then they get on the street, and we have seen what has happened when inmates escape. Many of them have ended up killing innocent people on the streets to steal their cars, to break in their homes and stay there for the night and end up killing the people. I mean, this is all facts, folks. Whether you think this is cruel to do what I'm talking about, or you think this is great, these things have happened. We can't just allow them to happen. We can't just sit back and allow these gang members to take control and act like they own the prison, because they don't. They don't own the prison, and they need to be shown that they don't own the prison. And I would like to see the governors of every state put the trust in their Department of Corrections secretary and don't micromanage, and let them deal with these security threat groups in a more secure manner. Don't tie their hands. Don't become puppets of the outside media and fall for giving them everything they want, their little sweetie golds, their freedom to run and do this. If they're going to act like animals, they should be classified as a terrorist threat. I'll probably lose some viewers over this, but it's true. Think of it this way. If you're all for helping these security threat groups to have it all nice in prison, remember, if you have a family member in prison, they may harm, injure, kill your family member. And then you'll be singing a whole different tune. So, anyway, hopefully you watched this video long enough to hear what I just said. Your own family members could be in danger of these gang members. These gang members don't care. They have their laws that they go by and their beliefs, and if you don't follow that, you're just, whether you're an inmate or staff member, you're no good to them. You're disposable. So I hope some of these things take place. The benefit of doing this is just what I've said. It sums it up in one sentence. The officers and the inmates in the prisons will be much safer if we take some action. Now, what I just told you is something that's actually been talked about by a couple of agencies. And it may be being talked about by more agencies. Your thoughts? Good plan? Bad plan? Hey, one plan is better than no plans. We can't just sit in our chairs all day and collect our paycheck and not take some action to help protect people's lives, protect our officers' lives and prison staff's lives. So, I don't know if one of these pilot programs would work. Let's see how it works. I did look up a few things here so that I could have a little information about reports of this type of program being discussed. Okay? I cannot confirm how many agencies are discussing this program, but when I got wind of it, I thought, this is good, because how long have we sat back and said, how long are we going to allow these gang members in prison to just destroy property and lives? It's just like I talk about corrupt staff. Are we just going to sit back and allow it to happen and pretend it doesn't? Same thing with these security threat groups. We can no longer sit back and pretend it doesn't happen. We have to take action. I think I got my idea across, and I think I got the details across to you of some things that are being discussed. Let me know your thoughts on taking action against gang members in our prison systems across the country. Thank you for watching Gary York, True Prison Stories.